And I'm just going to keep on playing. We end one recording, start another. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. You guys know that just at this stage you are watching Bannerlord 1.4. This is a beta version. It is worth mentioning here, and they asked us to tell you this. This may not be the final version that you guys are downloading. This is effectively a testing grounds for us with Bannerlord 1.4. We are exploring. We are having fun with our Batanian Sturgian army here, and we're going to head east because that's where the action seems to be. There was a little bit of action here. Our last episode, we finished it up with a very silly siege defense against Halthar. They got obliterated. They really didn't even make it to the walls. And our army here is absurdly strong, right? Every single troop is tier 5 or above, I think, or tier 4 Sea Raider Chief. They're going to be the ones that desert because we've got a 4 or 5 day journey here on our ship. Now, we're still seeking naval battles in this campaign. Part of the reason this update was made was based on our feedback and the feedback of other content producers and, of course, the players. There's not a lot of war on the sails. It's kind of hard to say war sails, and then most people have literally in 30, 40, 50 hours of gameplay a couple big naval battles. Now, that is historically accurate, but that doesn't mean that's how we want the game to be, right? Just like your character doesn't die of sepsis the first time he's shot by 3 arrows. Real life would be Kingdom of Heaven, right? He gets hit by a single arrow. The guy dies, right? Liam Neeson dead in Kingdom of Heaven. That is realistic because they did not have modern medicine to deal with infection. Anyways, the bottom line is that these changes made to 1.4 here were supposed to increase naval battle frequency, the quality of it. There's even a rumor, at least according to the patch notes, that after you defeat an army, say it's 18 ships versus 22 ships, after you defeat their ships, the battle keeps going. Now, it does exit you to the campaign map screen where you essentially have the option, continue the battle or not, which is a little bit of a compromise of what I think most players would prefer. In other words, just endless ships coming into a battle via reinforcements. But if that's the case, that's at least a better system than they had before. Most people, of course, are familiar with this simple scenario and problem with Bannerlord. By the way, I'm just stopping here to take all their money. Right? We're doing this at every city that we go by. We don't really care about anything. We don't need troops. We don't need equipment. I'll still scan for legendary this or like that. Those are some good javelins. We're still loading up on a little bit of equipment, but mostly at this stage, what we're looking for is we're looking for legendary armor and legendary bows, right? Arrows, legendary piercing arrows, and things like that. Anything to manifestly improve our ranged units. Legendary shit, right? That's what we're looking for. Meanwhile, we're just going to sell some stuff. So what scenario am I talking about? All right, so you're a Nord and you've got 6 ships and 400 troops, and Dirt sails against your force with 2,300 troops and 78 boats. All you got to do is defeat his top 8 boats, and evidently the rest of their huge armada just raise the white flag, and all of their troops are captured. It's awfully unrealistic, right? It's not a little bit unrealistic. It's game-breaking unrealistic. And so hopefully that remedy is in this patch. We don't know yet, right? Of course, we haven't had any big naval battles, and unfortunately, it might be a couple 4 episodes until we have them. So, I don't mean to tell you don't watch, but if you want to watch naval battles in this campaign, you might be better off, right? Using the old browser window or whatever, going to episode 7 or 8 of the playlist. Of course, I think my advisor, my YouTube advisor, which I don't have, by the way, but if I had an inner advisor, they would say, don't say shit like that, but I try to be honest here and not waste your fellas' time. Ragenvad is sieging. I think we'll get off our little ferry here around Balgard. Now, they did increase visual range of ships. Ships see further on the ocean, but so far, we still haven't seen anything, right? We don't see big naval forces out there. I think they should dramatically increase it. And let's get off right here. I think it should be like 3x or 4x what it is on land, because anybody who's been on a ship, especially out at sea, knows you could see forever, right? You could see, I think the horizon on a ship in good weather is like 30 kilometers or something like that, especially if it's a large object you're looking at, a piece of land or maybe a big Nordic fleet. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm wrong often. Ask my wife. But I think it makes sense both to increase the odds of military combat at sea and also the realism, or at least the enjoyment of us players, maybe not the realism, that there's more shipboard battles, and I'm hopeful some of the changes that they have made are to that end. That said, also, they have decreased visibility on land, and I should be more specific. They have made it unit dependent, and I think this is actually a really good change. I haven't noticed it hugely so far, but effectively little armies are much harder to see, especially if you're in the woods. Evidently, you have like a camouflage effect in the woods, whereas big armies, you can see them further away. In other words, like the distance you could see a little army of 32 Sea Raiders, you would see a large army 2 or 3 times that distance away, I think, right? We haven't really seen a clear example of it yet, but that is another one of the many changes that have come with this update. Now, we're still looking for maces. Right? Unfortunately, we're playing the wrong kingdom to acquire good maces, and let me explain, right? Your loot usually is from your defeated foe. Well, we're not fighting a lot of Sturgians, and of course you have to think about the equipment we're talking about. There are very few units in the game that use a two-handed mace. It's basically the Sturgian linebreaker, maybe like a bandit? I'm trying to think. I mean, the Britannian volunteer uses a sledgehammer, but that's not really the weapon we want, right? We want one of these fast-swinging Sturgian two-handed weapons. Well, if you do the simple math here, it needs to be Sturgian units for that loot to drop. In case you didn't know that, you get the loot, of course, roughly from the culture of your defeated enemies. That's why, like when we did the Lord of the Rings campaign, we were playing dwarfs and we were fighting orcs, all of our units were wearing orc gear, because that was who we were defeating, right? We had basically little choice but to use the equipment of our fallen foes. Now, there's no action out here, and this is something that I have started to grow accustomed to doing, and it takes, you know, a high understanding of tactics to do this. We're going to do crazy hard shit here. We're going to start sieging significant targets. We give no fucks, right? There's 400 defenders here. Ordinarily, this is not advisable, and it's not because the defenders would be uberly hard to overcome, even though we're outnumbered 2-1. The reason is because this is ringing the dinner bell for Nordic forces. They're going to come pouring at us at this location, and if you get 3 or 4 forces to attack you outside a castle or a city like this, the garrison will sally out as well, and the next thing you know, you're up against 700. So you got to be careful. You got to know what you're doing here. Fortunately, we know what we're doing here. And the side benefit is if we destroy all the Nord forces and the garrison, then the castle's taken too, right? This is a really easy way actually to do, well, maybe it's not easy, but this is an alternative way to do siege. Here they come, right? And we'll see how many come, right? It's always an unknown. You can see a huge army. And my rule of thumb here is I'm willing to fight, let's see, 175 all elite. I'm willing to fight, I was going to say 600. I'm willing to fight 500 right now. Maybe 600 if I look at the units and they have a bunch of weak troops. We'll definitely be scanning them, right? You can scan the garrison and it's a mixed bag. There's actually some good infantry there and good archers, and then there's a bunch of ragtag troops. So that's a factor too. And what'll happen here, if there's a force of 700 Nords, we'll run, right? We still have the capacity to run. That's why having a doom stack of an elite force of 170 like this is so powerful. Theoretically, unless you trap yourself like we did at Legetta a couple episodes ago, you should rarely lose, right? Because you dictate, you decide when there's combat. Now we're having babies and we're killing soldiers here because of plague. And now they're leaving. Damn, don't leave. Attack. Oh, you know what this is? You see this behavior? They're defending. They get in a little line here, so we got our battle here. 3, 4, it'll be about 5. I think we do this shit. At a minimum, it's going to be entertaining for you fellas, and that is part of the reason some of you guys are here. Let's do this shit. 500 Nords. We've got an elite force. Come get some.
Stop there.
And let's see. Okay, the garrison is there, so 500. And it's a rough situation for a number of different reasons, right? We're badly outnumbered. RTS mod. We still don't have the RTS mod. That's like the biggest concern I have right now. Strangely enough, I'm not worried about being outnumbered 3.5 to 1. If my character goes down, we automatically lose. So I'm almost tempted to wear 2 shields here. Right, that way you can hold one up in the front and still have one sitting on your back. But I also think I need the firepower. We got the perfect banner for it, right? Decreased taken range. We're not going to get attacked by melee much here. They don't have a lot of cavalry, and obviously we're going to be able to hold up our shield. So, let's see. I still think we got a good shot. It's definitely a hard battle, right? But that's what half of you guys are here for. Half guys want to be entertained. Half the guys want to learn how to win hard battles. And we've got skirmishers. We just got a sick army here. It's not perfect, but it's real close. Now this is great, right? Our first division is going to function beautifully as a square. One of the benefits of having a square here is you can, at a critical moment, you can send them into the jaws of the enemy, and it'll buy you 30 or 60 seconds, enough time for your enemy or for your allied forces to shred them with arrows. Of course, kiting is numero uno in this battle, right? We need to do a lot of kiting. We're going to have cavalry absorbing enemy archers. In fact, that's another priority, is trying to occupy their archers. It looked like they had quite a few archers for this battle, which is unfortunate because it'd be way easier if they just had 500 infantry. We would just kite them till we're out of ammo, right? Fill every single Nord body with 10 arrows. We might even be able to fight a highly effective battle, like, 10 losses or something if they had no archers. And I think that's good. We need as much firepower as possible in the 6th Division. So 6th Division, skirmishers, 4th, 5th, archers, and then the rest of the divisions are, well, they're there to catch arrows in the face and protect us a little bit. That 1st Division we're going to sacrifice at some point here. And I hate our location. We're like kind of downhill in a trough. But dance with the girl you brought to the prom, even if she smells like onions. That's my motto. Make the best of it. 4th right here. Most of this, of course, should be familiar to get to you guys at this stage. And I'll walk you through some of the finesse parts of a basic kill box. We don't have the horse archers or jav cav here to complete the kill box, but 3 legs of a kill box is still very effective. Usually I prefer 4, and 5 or 6 is even better, right? If you can get jav cav mobile behind the enemy while they're moving in, it's even more deadly. I guess my unit can be the jav cav here. I've got no real assisting units here. I'm kind of on my own. But we've got like 15, 20 javelins, right? We've got plenty of ammo. Now we've got to avoid damage here, even more so than normal because of the aforementioned lack of the RTS mod, right? Our army is going to do crazy things when our main character goes down. So we got to avoid a critical javelin to the face here or something like that. It'll be like insta-battle is over. That said, you definitely want to hammer archers. They should be a priority. They're the main threat here. Their infantry is a problem, of course, and they're going to use throwing weapons. But the archers are really going to be hammering our flanks. That cavalry. Our 2nd Cavalry Division here is, their job here is to earn a Medal of Honor. And what that essentially amounts to here is eating as many arrows as possible. We've got them over on our left side here. And what we're going to do is leave them in between our forces and the enemy archers, with the hope that the enemy archers fill their shields and horses and whatnot full of arrows. There's their archer line. It's deep. It's a lot. We're gaining levels here. We're drilling Nord units, and we got to keep our units also right at the edge of throwing range, right? These guys are too close. Go. You want to keep your archers 20 meters if it's not a lot of throwing weapons that you're facing. But if it's an army like this, where they have a lot of throwing weapons, the Nords have a lot of axes, you want to do more like 40 or 50 meters, because they can't or they won't even throw them, right? So that looks good. So far, so good. Let's get our square next to our 5th Division in case they charge. That looks good. And look at our cavalry. Our cavalry is being smoked. Look at the arrows behind them. And that's great. That's exactly what we want. It's not what they want. In fact, we just killed our wife. Although, I see the posts on Reddit. And they're like, how do I kill my wife? Well, that's one way. Right, first we took her armor. Then we made her stand there in a hail of arrows. Oh, shit. Stop. I lost one of my cav divisions. Anyways. And so you got to be careful. Sometimes you'll hit one of your units where you think, the 3rd Cavalry is there. Shit. And there's no unit there because they're dead. But that cav division, and it's down to just a few over there, they are doing a marvelous job of keeping the enemy archers back. I mean, the enemy archers are like 200 yards from most of our units here, right? And that means they're not doing any damage, right? Those cav units, look how far away, right? The 5, and look how far. They're 200 meters from me. They're not hurting our archers here, right? So we've got the enemy exactly where we want them here. Archers on 2 sides, skirmishers on the other. Now you start applying mega pressure. I'm charging only to get those skirmishers moving forward here. And this infantry is just not dying as fast as I thought, so we are going to have to try a square. We could pull this 6th division back for at least another 20-30 seconds here. I don't see any javelins. That division's out of ammo, the 1st division. I think you just feed the 1st division to the enemy here. These boys right here, good luck. The archers there are working. Our cav is almost dead. That's part of the reason I'm in a hurry. The cav is dead, it looks like. There's 2 left. I don't know how they're left. When they die, the enemy archers are going to rush forward. And the problem with that, of course, is suddenly our flanks are going to get enveloped by archer fire. Our divisions will melt. So they're enveloping the square. That's good, right? The 6th division can charge. Let's charge with these archers. That way we'll have ammo for the enemy archers. These guys can definitely cleave through all these Nords here. It's like 50 archers charging. We can help them a little bit here. Fuck, I just took a huge amount of damage somehow. Now we're in real trouble here, and down we go. And now it's kind of up to the AI. Now the good news is we did 90% of the heavy lifting here. Their archers are still a long ways up. In fact, they're running to try to get into the battle while their infantry is butchered. I think we still got a good shot here, right? Because these guys are going to plant their feet, and it's a bunch of mediocre archers coming against our better archers. Now, they have more. In fact, we need our infantry to get over here. 56, get over here. And, of course, this is where you want to command, and I can't because we don't have the RTS mod. Console players are like, see? I feel for you fellas, trust me. And that's like the #1 question. Is a console ever going to get mods? And my answer is always the same. I have no fucking idea. Now, this is a disaster. This is an AI disaster. These guys here are troops I need to be on the front line charging. You know what they're doing? They're chasing after troops that are routing. It's just bad AI behavior. Meanwhile, the rest of our forces here are in a tight match. And I'm going to speed this up here, but you cross your fingers here because this game is a zero-sum game, and there's your archers, Fiend champions, and we win, right? They just blow the enemy. Just blow the enemy off the screen. I love that our companions were wrecking shop at the end. Shell the fish was throwing javelins into the face of Nords, and glorious victory, even though we got dropped at the end. And to the victors go the spoils. I mean, it's just insane. We're going to make heaps of money from this. And you can hear it in my voice, right? There's the thrill of victory, the thrill of tactics right here, right? Like, you can smith all day, or you can do this shit and just get heaps of good equipment. We're going to be able to load up. I bet we get 200 influence or 150 influence from all these troops we're going to deposit. And we take a castle by ourselves in the mercenary stage. And we did so relatively easily. I mean, we still got, well, with the prisoners, our army is too full. We're going to have to actually let all these troops go. And get 20 or 30 influence for dumping these in here. And this is, a good way to tell what troops I like. I'm keeping the Sea Raiders, right? They're good little units. We'll keep those, right? If you have a choice of keeping militia, Sea Raiders, or, an Imperial infantryman, keep the Sea Raider. They're better units. And we have 400 prisoners to donate here, so I'm just going to go through here. I'm trying to think if I want to include this for you fellas. Let's just walk through this. This will just take 20 or 30 seconds. I'll dump. The majority of these Nords, I try to keep 3, 4, 5 myself because, of course, we're going to start to build. Well, we're supposed to be building a Sturgian army, and I just botched it. We have way too many troops in the prisoner. We're going to start building a Sturgian force, but in the short term, right, I'll take some Nord prisoners. People who are like, well, we're going to do Sturgian troops the whole way from the outset. Well, you can have fun with that. It's just like the guys who want to do, the campaign where your main character plays naked or something like that. More power to you if that's the kind of campaign you want to play. We're going to play Bannerlord sort of normal, right? We're just going to advance along with with tactics and optimized armies. And be a little bit more careful here. And look at this shit. I said 200 influence, and it's going to be almost exactly 200 influence we just got. We get 300 and something per influence. That is 60 grand we just got for just the prisoners from that battle, right? Never mind the loot, all the other shit that we got, the pillage. Took a bunch of gold out of their teeth. Our army's restocked. Right now, we did lose some high-end troops. We lost probably some nates and some wildlings and stuff like that, but it won't be long for us to rebuild. And I am going to start to shift this army towards more of a Sturgian type army. Now I got to do this, otherwise we'll just be trudging everywhere. Get our prisoners down to a reasonable level here. We are going to start to recruit Sturgian troops, and unfortunately, I can't find Ragenvad. He was right here, and I think his army disassembled. I didn't see him get captured, so I guess we'll go to Tyal here and sell some of our absurd loot. Unfortunately, there's battle out east, or out west now. It's like wherever we go, there's battle somewhere else, right? The struggle is real. Our first world privileged problems here. So I think we'll do a little bit of editing, and we'll pick it up either when we find Ragenvad or the next moment where there's something interesting to record. Like I said before, we're going to try to move these episodes along. If there's interesting shit, I will either start a new recording or just keep recording, and we'll be sure to include it as we round up all the deserters probably from that battle, right? A lot of them are Nords, almost certainly from that battle. These are all the scum who ran, who ripped apart their army. 400 inside, 480 inside. We're going to have deserters at least once. And it's the Khan. Urikskala. I can't tell what kind of a catapult it is. That would affect our decision here, but you know what? It's YouTube. It's a fun campaign here. How would we ever pass up this opportunity? There's going to be at least 300 defenders inside. And this is the kind of battle where you get rich in one battle, right? Of course, massive influence. We would get a heap of prisoners. It's always nice to have a little sex before you die, maybe, in a big battle. Of course, the main player death is off. We don't need to start the campaign over. And we're going to have, 160 troops inside. It depends on the layout. I can't remember if this is the same layout as Mazhedon Castle or if it's the same. They have 3 castle layouts, the Sturgians. 2 of them are really good, and the third one, at least it has a very good last stand defense area. So, we're going to do this shit here. We're recording, and this is exactly what I mean, right? We block out 20 minutes of footage you guys don't need to see. Capture some Nord nobles. I guess I should explain that the Khazate declared war on us as well. So we take advantage of the situation, and we like money, right? Like they say over and over again in Idiocracy, I like money. We're going to definitely defend here, do the best we can, and there's a reasonable chance of success. And God, do we wear this hammer? I think we wear the hammer and run a speed banner. We don't have a good speed banner. Movement is so critical in a keep siege like this. I'm going to be moving around. Of course, we're going to have to micromanage. We're going to have to help the forces that are inside there. We're going to be throwing rocks. Hopefully, we're throwing fire catapult bombs, and we can sink the Khan here. Now, of course, if we have fire catapult bombs and destroy their siege weapons, there's always a chance that they rout before they really get deep into the siege, but it's doubtful with this many troops. And I'm going to do every single perk here. You ask the cooks, and this is where the wife is definitely fighting, right? Every single troop here is necessary, and this is where it's extremely helpful. I keep emphasizing it. Maybe I emphasize it too much, but to have those extra 50 troops. Yeah, we're getting deserters, but we're able to carry about 30 or 40 extra troops into this battle. It really means a big difference in a battle where it could be down to the last 50 troops. We're obviously going to have serious attrition here, and let's change our surgeon out. We can just back out here. Let's make, I think, our wife. Yeah, it helps a little bit. Right now, a lot of it doesn't help that much in battle. We're not gaining major hit points. You don't get those kind of perks from your surgeon. But I think that's still going to be helpful here if we win. 46, right? So we're going to get in with 185 troops, and it's just a whole nother world once you start understanding that or once you start doing 184, the deserter overload, it just works, right? This force wasn't going anywhere, and so it didn't matter that we trudged here in the snow. We arrived with a good-sized force, right? They allow us to squeeze through the side door here with 180 troops. And right away, let's just assess what we got going on here. I got to find the catapult, and we're crossing our fingers that there's a contrail of smoke coming out of it, i.e. One of the fire onagers. That's going to mean a world of difference. I won't say we can't win without it, but that'll be a huge... let's just get off this horse. That'll be a huge difference. We'll see you later, horse. We don't need you. And man, it feels like we're slow. Now, Sturgian cities and castles are also, in my opinion, famous for something else, and they have rocks. There are sometimes 3 or 4 piles of rocks, whereas a lot of castles have one. It's a strange anomaly. I think the city with the most is, I talk about it sometimes on the channel, is Tyal. It seems like there are 12 rock piles in Tyal. And so if you want to level up your character, your throwing, your athleticism, defend Tyal a couple times and just throw rocks until you get carpal tunnel, and your character will have 290, 300 athleticism. Like, it's amazing how many there are. There's one right here, right? There's a pile of rocks. Now the catapult doesn't look like it's a fire catapult. I haven't seen any contrails, and we got holes in the walls here. Can't tell if the enemy has siege or not. This is our last stand area, though. This is where we're going to set up the primary defense. Damn. And it's not a fire catapult. Well, let's see if we can't destroy the siege tower. Anyways, where is the siege tower? I can't even see a siege tower. Do they have one? They had a siege tower. Where the fuck is it? What am I looking at here? I don't see any siege tower. It must already be to the other walls. Wow, that's a disaster. Well, that means they're going to have all 3 accesses here. The good news, though, is that this little defensive bowl here is one of the best in the game. I don't exaggerate when I say that. I've had really good defenses here before. In fact, we had an amazing siege defense here with the Aserai, the epic Aserai campaign. We had a siege here where we had like 20 guys at the end. So maybe this is deja vu. Little different circumstances, but not that different. I think we were a mercenary in that stage. And the key, of course, is blocking the 2 entrances to here. Now, this is ladders in front of us. That's actually good news. A siege tower would be harder because there'd be a huge... Damn, we have hardly any infantry. It would be a huge surge of troops coming through the siege tower. So it's optimal. We got a little lucky, a little RNG. Bad RNG that we don't get a fire catapult, but at least we can smoke some of these fuck archers that are hammering our troops. Now, I keep checking. It's making me nervous. I don't think any of these are our archers, though. We got... Our little logo is that sword, so... It looks like our troops are down. Okay. And we're going to hold fire here with our skirmishers. Why? Of course, because later on in this battle, they may be necessary. We may need those javelins to let fly on the enemy. Yeah. There's a good amount of militia and regular Sturgian defenders in here, so we're not just going to give up the other sides either, but I don't want our troops spread all over the castle here in case we get cut off. I'm going to keep most of our troops down here because at least then I know where all my little ducklings are, right? All these, we got like 50 fiend champs, right? We've got to baby these guys and keep them out of harm's reach. This little bowl here. You can see the problem. The AI has to come down these stairs or up the ladders. I think we can win this shit. I'm getting excited because this is going to be the mother load for this campaign. Talk about power leveling. If we win this, this is all we need, right? It's like that quote in Dark Knight. One fundraiser with my friends and you'll never need to raise a cent again. One siege defense against 1,700 Khazate and you never need any more gold the rest of the campaign. Of course, that's an exaggeration. We're not going to get 6 million from this, but we might get 1 million or 500,000 from one siege. And at a minimum, we're going to power level our character. Win or lose, this is going to be highly profitable for our army. But let's win, right? To hell with fucking win or lose, right? Win or win here. Win or massacre. Let's rout the enemy here. Now, the screen is shaking. That's a new feature. I'm not sure I'm thrilled about that. Every little rock shakes the whole earth. These are not meteors. So, you know, this is... Guys love this shit in video games. It's immersive. It gives you like a seizure every time you throw a rock. I just like the kills, right? We're getting tons of kills here of high-end infantry. That looks good. Those are not our troops, by the way. Of course, if you see troops on the walls right now, unless I've fucked up, they're not ours. So, and we've already pretty much handled the troops at the gate. In fact, our troops there, those are not ours either. There's another rock pile. Those are not our troops at the gate, right? Those guys are under AI control. When you're a mercenary, you don't get the pre-setup or control of the troops in the castle. They basically consider you an incompetent dipshit. The idea, of course, is you're learning Bannerlord at this stage. Drill these guys here. Damn, I completely airballed that. Now, here's the problem over here. This is clearly the pressure side, but I don't want to pull troops from the other side to defend here. I guess I can pull... We have 45 archers. I don't want to pull them from the other side. If we had 100 archers, maybe when we get reinforcements, right? There's pressure over there. I see hordes of troops rushing that direction, and there's enough Sturgians here that are kind of holding it for the short term. I can chuck a few rocks here, right, and yell some taunts. I can see we got a guy with the flag on the other side running around. It's fucking great. Trumpeting to the enemy. This is our castle, bitches. And, I'm a little uncomfortable. At the same time, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, it's on the knife's edge here. The gate is being held. Of course, the Khazate have 50,000 archers. But with how we defend siege, that helps us, right? That actually is a benefit. This would be harder against 1900 Nords because they would just have brutal infantry chopping apart our guys. And maybe in this campaign, we'll have that matchup, right? Maybe not, probably not at this castle. Could be this castle, but maybe we'll have a Sturgian Nord siege defense. And I know some purists want me to have a full Sturgian army. That's coming. This might be, in fact, what launches us into being a vassal. I want to have 500,000 gold, and I think we'll probably be there sort of cumulatively after the siege. Now, we got to win still. If we lose, it's a setback. But if we win this, we're just going to get insane amounts of gold. And so far, so good. It almost feels easy, right? There's nobody coming through the gate. Most of the troop pressure seems to be on the wings. This side's going to break down, though. They got a lot of dark hands. They got archers coming up now. How quick is this going to break down, though? You can't bring troops over here. This is a trap, right? You bring troops here, and then all of a sudden they get waxed, and you're running for your life back to your safe spot. I'm going to keep our troops there. We're getting reinforcements. These are AI reinforcements, right? From the keep defense. I think there was 350 or 400 in this castle. So we got a little bit to work with here, and we might as well fight alongside them like men here, right? They're fighting for their lives. We don't really give a shit about them, but, you know, we might as well try to help the AI here. And it's all collective kills, right? If we can puncture these guys and pound them for the next 20 minutes, 10 minutes over here, it's messy, right? It's very bloody combat. This is not successful combat. Holy shit, and they're pouring towards the other side. I think that's better, though, than the main gate. If they came through the main gate here, his bodies flip over me. We're using our two-hammer. Maybe I didn't mention that. We're finally starting to level this guy's Hagar the Horrible's two-handed skill. And I think a keep siege is optimal for it, because you can kind of sit at the edge of danger, out of reach, and crush people with your sledgehammer. Might gain 50 points in his two-handed skill in one battle. And I got to keep an eye on the other side. Obviously, if there's a huge blowout, or if a bunch of units come from the gate and swarm these stairs, we fall back into desperate... Oh shit, we got reinforcements. Let's chop them. Let's go... Let's do 2 different divisions here. Now we have a division to block the back door, too. We're good, man. We're like golden in this siege. I mean, it's going to be close still, fellas. You should stay and keep watching our content, man. It's going to be fun either way. It's not going to be easy, but man, suddenly we have like 130, 140 troops. 2 for the 2nd division of archers. I guess those guys, maybe we could bring 1 division of archers over here. I'm okay risking 1 or 2 divisions here, because if we get blown out, what we can do is fall back quickly. But I don't want to bring more than... Oh shit. They're not gonna... Damn. And that's exactly what I mean. These guys, we're just gonna have to... We might be setting up our Alamo right away, right? The enemy's coming. The good news is that, again, we have ladders over here, right? So the AI coming up those ladders is fish in a barrel. I don't care if they had 10,000 there. They're not getting in here. And the other good news is that when you have your defensive units offset, sort of unbalanced like this in a castle, the AI has a tendency to go like electricity or water, path of least resistance. So that means instead of 600 troops pouring through the gate, a lot of times they'll come over here and queue up behind the ladder. And of course, advantage us, right? You got 50 Fiend champions trained on the ladders. You can hear the arrows click every once in a while. They can't get up those ladders. Or at least it's going to be very difficult for them to. If they rally enough troops up there. But right now, the AI's molesting them, right? The AI's putting troops there. Let's get archers set opposite here. No. My main concern is behind us here. Because the open gate, theoretically, they can pour troops in. But I've got a square at the base. I've got skirmishers trained on those guys. Like, if they bring a 200 through the back, we're going to give them a lot of pointy sticks, and some of them are going to be lethal javelins, right, from our nates. There's even more rocks. Gaining levels like crazy. And there's got to be 400 or 500 troops at the base of the ladder here. That's really good news. Because ultimately, like I said, they're not getting up those ladders. I don't care how many troops they have there. I guess if they had 10,000, maybe they would wear us. Did they rout? I don't think they're going to rout easy in this siege. The Khan is here. And they have a fuck ton of troops still. That's got to be 400 or 500. Now, there's still fighting elsewhere. There's definitely Khazate in the castle somewhere else. So, just pound the shit out of these guys over here, though. Must have killed 100 already with the rocks. We can get our two-handed thing on here and just club these guys all over the place. The best part is the knockdown, right? Just sends guys flying. They get slammed all over the place. Now, it's not very good damage, but this is a tier 1 hammer. We will get higher tiered hammers. And according to the patch notes, all of the hammers now have knockdown. So I think that's a great effect. In fact, something that I've advocated is that all of the Sturgian lords be given two-handed hammers. I think it would make them highly unique, right? They'd ride around with a bow, an arrow, maybe 2 quivers of arrows, and then a two-handed hammer that does knockdown. I think it would be super unique. It would make the Sturgian lords powerful, but I don't think it would be OP. And it would give a lot of flavor, I think, to Sturgia, and maybe just the strength they need here. Now, they're definitely pushing troops our way. It looks like our forces outside our little Alamo here, I'll call this, are breaking down. So we want to have, let's see, we want to have an answer for these guys here. We can get 3rd, 2nd, 4th. What we can do here is I can create either a new division or just get out of the way, lads. I could just get some skirmishers here pushed way over on the other side here. Archers? No. It doesn't want to let me. Okay, well, let's try this then. Look at how many that is. There's like 30 archers there. And what we can do is we can ready some skirmishers. Let's see what's going on up there. I see our troops coming. Look at this. Where the hell did you guys come from? Those are militia. We got a lot of troops still. Wow, this is like a fucking Zerg of Sturgians. I mean, I was feeling good before. Now I feel warm and fuzzy. I mean, there's still 700 enemies out there, so we're badly outnumbered, but that's a lot of troops, and what's amazing is they're all pouring down here into the bowl with us. I don't know why they're doing that. I'm not telling those guys to go there, but it's where I would prefer they go, right? We can defend this lower area. Now, it's sort of unrealistic, right? Theoretically, the enemy takes the center dungeon, right? The dungeon is that big building there, Donjon. Now we call it a dungeon. And, you know, they would just let us starve down here, but we'll take some javelins. And these are the game mechanics, right? They have to kill every single last soldier. And look at all these troops. Man, we got a lot here. Looks like they're holding back the storm. They still got high-end troops here. We got some Santa hat militia. You gotta help them, right? They're wearing cloth and shit, fighting with their Santa Claus hat. How do you not help here, right? They're not gonna last. These are dark hands and heavy lancers and shit, but we gotta help. You bastard! They're yelling curses and shit. I also gotta watch my health, but we can't. If we drop, the siege is over, right? Our troops will do dumb shit. Can't afford that. And we're getting blown out here. They're finally overwhelming our little Santa hat guys. It was fun while it lasted, and this is what I mean. So, there's not very many here, but how many more are coming, right? This top area, we gotta go. We're getting chased. Let's bail through here. Fortunately, the AI doesn't know how to do that. We got a little parkour this episode, and we have a horde of troops down here. Come on, baby, we got this shit. Bring more. Bring 1,000 more Khazate. We're ready for it. We're out of rocks. But this little militia up here shooting them, I fucking love it, man. Bannerlord is great. They're fighting. Look at these little militia. Stab these little fuckers. And we got that division over there. They're going to start to burst through that stairs, though. So we got to start getting... let's get skirmishers and archers set up here. These guys over here are perfect, right? What we can do here with these guys is basically put them in a line and have them unleash hell of javelins, right? This is why, you know, wildlings and stuff are so powerful. You can't do this with, you know, with your veteran spearmen, your Sturgian veteran spearmen. The power of javelins in Bannerlord is so intense, and it's virtually every battle. It's powerful. Now they're starting to pour through. Let's give them a little taste. I love it. Take them down, right? And they just get shelled by high-end javelins. Attaboy! And they're getting shot by archers. Let's save our ammo here, in fact. That's hardly any coming there. But please come that way, right? We will unload javelins until they can't move. We're just clubbing them on the ladders here. We got rocks to rain down on these boys. Have some of this, you fucks. These catapult guys are just sitting here for some reason. I guess they must have like a couple shots left, and they have nothing to shoot at. There's got to be 600 Khazate right here. We might even sally out here. I've got so much militia and other supporting help here, and I bet we have 150 of our own troops here. We have a... Uh-oh. Did you guys hear that? There's a ballista out here somewhere. Where's this shit? Oh, shit. Right next to me it hit. There he is, right above the wood there. You see that little fucker? And the archers are shooting at him, but they're gonna get smoked. You guys are dead men. They're trying to shoot that guy. He's got a bigger gun, dude. Alright. I think it's worth it, right? What we can do here is we can take some of our troops. I could actually command them from inside the castle, although I should probably get out there if I'm gonna do it. I still got, you know, 2/3 of a health bar. We probably got 130 hit points. We're gaining athleticism, 299, that says right there, right? Our athleticism has exploded in the last hour or two. And this guy makes me nervous. Going out there, he might drill some of our troops, but I think we can do this. We can spare 60, 80. We got like 120 troops here, 130 troops. We could do 3 divisions or 4 divisions maybe. I'm willing to spare here. We got to leave archers in the courtyard. We could take 2nd, 5th, 6th maybe. And then of course, if the enemy starts zerging through the gate, we can pull back, right? We can do a gate defense. It's suboptimal, but the enemy, shit. The enemy, when it's lined up out there, you little fucker. He's like shooting right at me too. Every shot hits the wood. I swear they target the player more. Man, that would suck if we got killed right now by that. So we'll keep our head down. When the enemy's bottled up like that, they will shoot back, right? Their archers will shoot back, but what they rarely do is surge 300 or 400 troops away and just mob your troops. We'll also keep some distance, right? And we have speed banners, so our units should be able to kite back inside. But I think it's going to be a great exchange. We've got tons of ranged units, and we have elite ranged units, and not just that. We've had the presence of mind to hold fire. So I've got probably 30 or 40 skirmishers with full quivers. That means 10 javelins. So we got 3 divisions here. I got an auxiliary division. The 3rd can charge if I need to. I think we'll take the 4th. You guys aren't needed, right? We don't need them to stand there while we're going outside. That's 5 divisions. 5 divisions, a little risky. But, you know, we're Johnny on the spot. We're going to move quickly, and this will help. Let's get this guy here. Come here, boy. I know you got an arrow in the throat. I need you again. Look, he's running away. He's like, no more combat, please. I've seen how you treat cavalry. Come here, boy. Yep. All right, boys. All right, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 8th. I'm doing this for myself, just so I remember what I have with me outside. We got 5 divisions now at the ready. And we've got this little protective wall here. I like this, right? We can get our archers spread out, skirmishers in either shield wall or squares, right? It would be nice to have some kind of defense out here. And let's kill this guy here, this little fucker. I forget about you. No, not this time. We just killed his ballista, and the archers shot him dead. Now, what's nice here is your units, even though they're outside the city, have unlimited ammo still. All defenders, all archers and crossbow, that is, have unlimited ammo. Skirmishers do not. That would be super OP. I mean, could you imagine Asarai Ferris in siege defense with unlimited javelins? It'd be stupid. Nothing would ever get through the gate. You could just defend every castle with 80 Asarai Ferris. You know, if they could just throw unlimited javelins. Because it does triple or quadruple the damage arrows do. It would be stupid. Hopefully they never do that. The Asarai Ferris don't need any kind of a boost. Now we spread these guys out in lines and tell them to fire, right? Now all of a sudden we have skirmishers and archers shooting through the little gaps here. A lot of these Khazad are weak, or they don't have shields because they're archers, and they're going to get frizzed. Now, we have to watch for reinforcements. So that's the only threat here. We just got to... And there they come. Let's just get back inside. It's too risky to fight out here. You know, I've learned from experience. You do that, and you slowly lose troops, and then you got to fall back. Let's just do a full defensive stand here at the main gate. If they're dumb enough to come through the main gate, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, we've got the medicine for what ails us. We can do a pillar defense here. And it's not a great courtyard, but I think we can make it, well, we will make it work. If I have to, I'll jam a square in the gate and we'll fall back to the Alamo. I'm calling that inner area the Alamo there, because if we have to make a last stand, that's where we're going to do it.
Onwards!
But this is going to work, right? You got one AI unit guarding the gate. Good job, dude. I'm like a dipshit security guard. Apologies if you're a security guard. I'm just a dipshit firefighter. And we're getting no pressure here. Where'd they go? I hear guys yelling. Like 2 guys attacked us. I wonder if I just retreated so quickly they gave up on us. They got some archers here. I think they all went to the left side again. Well, you guys are cooked. They were going to be cooked anyways. Look at them. There's a lot of guys with no shields. They were going to get shredded through the gate. But I like sallying out, right? Let's sally our forces out here and just absolutely maul these Khazad. There's nobody on the other side here, too. If there were troops over here, I wouldn't do this, but we're going to be able to absolutely flank and obliterate these Khazad. Now, some guys might just sit in the Alamo. That's fine. You can definitely do that. But when you're on a YouTube channel and time is important for people, this is the next best thing. This will be a lot more fun strategically, right? There'll be an ounce of risk. Maybe half an ounce of risk, not much risk. Mostly my character going down. We could get zerged by reinforcements, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I can square these infantry if I have to, right? That's the luxury of skirmishers. They're great offensively, they kill at range, and in a pinch, they can square, right? Your Nates aren't as armed as like a legionnaire, of course. They couldn't be, right? They would be way overpowered. But they're pretty well armored, right? They don't just crumple. They got a shield. These guys right here, there's a Sea Raider helping me. And this is going to be a massacre. You could just, writings on the walls. Those guys mostly don't have shields. Even if they charged right here, I think they'd get obliterated. And we have this siege in hand. Just got to keep an eye on reinforcements, right? We'll just keep looking out there, but this is just fish in a barrel. There's only 400 of them. And this battle is over. They're starting to rout and scream. Let's put troops here behind them so they can't even get out, right? We want to kill every single Khazad. Cut them all down. Get some archers here. This guy, I think he's routing, not charging. Yeah, he's just he's the smartest guy in the room. These guys are the smart peasants. They're like, fuck that. I'm not standing here and getting hit with fucking javelins. And now we get our beat down on here. 108 to our two-handed. Beautiful. This siege is over. And we're going to get rich. I like money. You guys haven't seen Idiocracy. It's a great flick. It's fucking hilarious. Unfortunately, it's turning into a little bit of a documentary. It's supposed to be a comedy. All right, let's square. It does look like they want to fight. They're not running. Some of these guys are charging. So we'll double square here. We can have one division charge and throw javelins. I still think we're okay, but they're making it interesting here. We don't mind. We want to kill all of them. Right? We're happy to clobber these guys on the ground. He's just smashed to the ground and then clobbered. It's fucking glorious. Just clubbing bitches. Oh shit. We got our firing squad. Look at this hapless fuck. This stupid helmet. Well, swing your weapon, dude. You almost got me. Of course, our hammer's slow. And we're short. We don't really kick well. The day is lost! Look at this fucker. Where are you going, Jagoff? He's chucked on the ground and pounded. I wish Monchug was here. I could pound him into the dust. And we obliterate. We abuse this poor Kazate force. They're shot to death now as they try to escape. Let's get medieval on their asses here. And that was fucking a sheer joy. Let's hit one of them in the back here as they flee. The troops roar. They're eating a 9-course diet, right? These guys are thrilled. Even our Santa hat dipshits here. And what a glorious battle. Only 16 dead at 1,200 kills. That'll do, right? That's how you get rich in Bannerlord. And even our companions shredded it, right? And look at that fucking perk. 38 to athleticism, 24 to throwing, and 16 to two-handed. We get the 250 javelin perk. We're over 300 athleticism in one battle. We get a mountain of influence. We're probably going to get like 8 or 9 Kazate prisoners here. We can get heaps of influence for these guys. Of course, we'll turn them over to the dungeon, right? And get, I don't know, hundreds of influence. Our mercenary contract is going to be hilarious. And of course, this is no longer a secret, right? All you guys that come to the channel regularly know about this. And the guys who just found the channel, well, I want to say congrats, because you just found the easiest way to power level your way into a beast in Bannerlord. Nah, you know, it's not always easy, right? That was, we made that look pretty easy, but a lot of times it's much harder than that. We still lose sieges. We lost a siege earlier in this campaign, but you got a good chance to win if you know what you're doing. You got a good army, you got some tactics, and we're hopefully helping a lot of you lads out there obliterate the foe like that. I think this is a good spot to wrap it up. Maybe I couldn't find Ragenvad earlier. He ran off. We'll have to look for him and become a vassal. And indeed, just to verify, hardest difficulty, and it wasn't hard. All right, friends. Of course, if you want to see more from this Sturgian playthrough, you want to subscribe, right? Swing by the channel. Hit that like button on the way out, friends. And I will see you next time.